Hello everybody, Ian Robson here for another episode of Westbridge Hills. Alright, we got nothing's going on today. What do we got going on today? I think we have this guy. We currently have him unloading the combine, which is, I believe it is harvesting barley here, if memory serves. And of course this combine's not going to stop for us. There we go. So we got barley here, and we also have the big case quad track back there. He's planting, I think it's this one. He's planting wheat with this big planter. One of the things I realized, or seeder, one of the big things I realized with this particular seeder is the fact that it gives me a lot of space to turn around. It looks really cool when it's working though, but it needs a lot of space to function properly. So as you can see, I did a few headlands here, so it has some space to turn around, and it's doing so now. But it's a slow turn. Look at that. It's crazy. Technically, it probably shouldn't be making that sharp of a turn, but the hire worker doesn't seem to mind. So I did a few headlands. Let me just show you on this. I did a few headlands this way, and then a couple up here as well. So hopefully there'll be enough space. So it's currently just finishing that off. Remember, that is not a no-till situation. You actually have to cultivate it first. I don't know. Can't remember if the corn's been harvested or not yet. Anyway, so we got that going on here. As you remember from the previous episode, this guy collected up our not straw bales, hay bales, and he's just chilling out down there. I'm gonna put him on the. Actually, you know what I will do is let me just check to see if I left the. Fertilizer here, because I honestly don't remember. That field's been planted. No, I didn't leave it here. I wasn't sure. Alright, let's grab the fertilizer spreader. I guess that's up to their farm there. We'll have to see how that goes. I'm not 100% sure. One of the new mods one of the mods I picked up recently is, that's so strange. It's weird. When I'm over there, I get like the frame rate drops, for me at least, and then over here it's fine. It's strange. A lot of people have been having really odd issues with frame rate and frames drops and stuff like that. I know TCGG Rob's been having some strange problems. I know Stocko Galaz has been having some screen tearing issues. It's been really strange, so a lot of people saying turn VSync off and it'll apparently solve the problem. Lots of different people saying different things. What's right, I don't know for sure, but it has been a whole slew of different things. Or people have suggested a whole bunch of things, so. Alright, let's grab our fertilizer spreader here. There we go. And let's come over here. It's funny, one of the previous episodes I mentioned how I probably wouldn't be using slurry. The person pointed out the fact that slurry is free in comparison to using fertilizer, the dry fertilizer here, which is very true. The only problem you run into is that I will never have enough slurry, I don't think, to do all my fields consistently. And I don't think, like I mentioned before, it actually isn't. The biggest one you have is 15 meters, and that's it. So you can't really, unfortunately, you can't really do much about that. Not yet, because there haven't been any mods. I don't believe there have been any mods that come out yet that allow you to. I don't think I have any mods. No mods that are slurry tankers yet. Nope. Oh, wow, this Flygel's a 10-meter one. Yeah. I didn't think there was anything. Let's move this guy out of the way. Oh, he's almost full again. Jeez. It's funny. What happens is you end up messing around for a little bit, and then it's like, you know, for a second you do something else, then you come back and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I need to pay attention to this guy. Is he actually moving? Yes, he is actually moving, and he's probably going to stop, I imagine, soon if I'm not careful. There he goes. Talk about timing. Alright, let's just come around here and let that guy sit there. Perfect. I love how these machines actually just stay running when you walk away from them. That's one of the really nice things about the drive control mod. Well, manual ignition mod, what do I call it? Drive control. That's what I'll call it, I think. Now, which way is... I guess I don't think it really matters in this scenario. So let's get this guy rolling here. I love how you can hire a worker for that kind of stuff now. Doesn't use any material, which I'm okay with to a certain extent. Like, if I were trying to be as realistic as possible. But you notice though, look how fast my money is going down because I'm a hired worker. There's a hired worker there, there's a hired worker over there as well. It definitely adds up really quickly. This is a T4. T4 cannot do anything. Let's move this guy into a better spot. I think we ended up deciding the best spot would be is up there somewhere, so let's put him up there. Yeah, there's a couple of new mods that come out. Nothing, honestly, I haven't seen anything, like, no actual models itself. Like, there have been lots of script-based ones. Like, the guy Upside Down, who did a lot of the mods I've enjoyed so far, he actually released another mod that makes it so your crops only grow at, like, 4 o'clock in the morning, I think it is, so... There's like a certain hour, it grows at night as opposed to during the day, which is an interesting mod. This field's going to be huge once it's all said and done. Oh, he's got like 1 pass left here. I'm surprised there was enough space. Whoa, you see how close that is there? Look at that. So if you look at the tracks, just missing it. He probably scraped along the side of it, I imagine. But that's the biggest seeder we have. There have been some, there have been a few ones that have been ported over, which haven't been too bad, I guess. But for the most part, it's been pretty good. I might as well just empty this now. Alright. It's funny. There's been like a lack of mods at the moment, which I honestly expected, mainly because if you think about it, it's still the starting of the game being released, so the amount of mods being released right now is, you know, low, but it's to be expected at this particular time, which is, you know, just the way it is. It would be nice to see more mods, but I don't want to see crummy mods, so in that regards, I guess it'll be good to you know, wait a while before we get some of the, I don't know, some of the other mods. I hope we get to see some good NI modding ones, maybe some Euro DZN ones. Like I've said before, I know OEB is releasing a few mods that are converts from the old, from 2013 basically, so. Alright, let's look at some of the comments from the previous episode. Is that combine? Oh, why did he have to stop there? It's funny. Unloading this combine is like a full-time job, basically. And if I don't follow him all the way down the one side, he'll basically do what he's doing right now and be full. So, as much as I don't want to drive in the crops, I almost have to, or move the combine. Let's just move the combine. Really doesn't make a big difference, I don't think. But this is what happens. You really have to babysit this guy because it has such a huge header on it that whenever you walk away for like a second, you'll basically have to, you'll run into a situation where you're not going to have to do, you're not going to be able to do anything else other than babysit this for a while at least. It's funny, 26 meters isn't very wide, but if you think of how fast he's actually doing that, it's a lot faster than you'd think. There we go. Let's just back this guy up and get him in the right spot here. So the new hired workers are pretty good in terms of getting the whole field. They don't miss a whole lot. It really depends on the implement itself. This particular implement's pretty good about, even though like the turning circle is pretty terrible on this guy, just because the way it's made, it still does a pretty good job in terms of getting the whole field. That might be particularly, partially, I should say, because it is a articulated tractor. I don't know. I don't know for sure. Could be anything, really. Perfect. So as you can see, I did a little bit of a headland up here as well, hopefully to avoid going off the cliff up there. We'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. Now, is there any other vehicles I wanted to get? I feel like we might need to get another... Oh, I don't quite have enough for this. I feel like we might need to get another big tractor. A T8. Oh, that's 320 horsepower. We actually... Oh, we can't anymore. We almost could have afforded that. We probably still can, actually, now I think about it. Let's just see. Oh yeah, we could basically sell anything. Is there any great demands going on? No. Not at the moment, at least, so... We'll deal with that once it comes. We don't absolutely need another tractor right at this exact moment in time, but it would just be nice to have another one so we could get started on some of the cultivating, because while this seeder is really nice in terms of how wide it actually is and how fast you can actually go with it, and it seems to I don't see it missing any spots, which is nice. The other big seeder for corn and sugar beets apparently misses spots for whatever reason, so alright, we'll let that guy do his thing. Alright, let's get this guy back to work. It's funny, so because I'm not using courseplay, I'm basically trying to avoid driving on the crops. I've done it like once or twice, but I'm trying to make an effort to not do it this time around until I get courseplay, I suppose. But for now, I've just been avoiding driving on the crops, which is actually, yeah, you can do that. Avoiding driving on the crops because I can, basically. Let's unload this guy. It's funny. The best way to do this is if you don't want to unload him while he's on the crops right there, or have to drive on the crops, you basically have to follow him, I've discovered, back down the one side. Or that's what I've discovered so far. There we go. It's funny, it doesn't look like it's actually in there, but it's going in, so how full is he? He's getting there. Yeah, once that guy's fully unloaded, we're gonna have, yeah. It's funny, this trailer, some people don't like this trailer because they've had some problems with it being really tippy. Like, look at this. I'm just taking a small turn, and it tips really easily. I was watching Caravera 76 the other day, and one of the things he mentioned was apparently if you hit control, it'll actually slow down your vehicle. So if you watch carefully, so if I am on cruise control 3 and I hit control, it doesn't do anything. But if I'm driving and I hit control, it's like a brake. I don't understand how that works or why that does it, but it's kind of cool. If I use the cruise control function, if I hit Alt, it would also decrease my speed by half. My cruise control speed, at least. And that is due to the inching mod, which is also by Upside Down, the same guy who did the GPS mod. The other mod that allows you to buy and sell fields, same guy as well. So he's done quite a few mods, actually, which is always really cool. Alright. It's funny, I was having a conversation with somebody in the comments the other day about this type of trailer, like the walking floor on this one, or the Flygo, which has another system for unloading. And one of the things that we were talking about was the advantage of these types of trailers is that if you have like a low-hanging ceiling in the area where you're dumping the grain, having this walking floor is really advantageous because it allows you to, you know, not have to worry about the ceiling at all. Actually, you know what I will do? I'll just park it over here because that combine's at this end of the field at the moment, so he's gonna stop soon, I suppose. Alright, that's where is he? Yeah, it makes sense. It's one of those simple things like there are lots of areas where you need to have that. I guess you need to have the clearance, the height clearance, basically. And if you don't have it, then there's not much you can do about it. So having a vehicle or having a trailer that tips like those ones do, the walking floors, are really helpful. Whoa. There we go. Having those walking floors are really helpful. Oh, you stopped there, eh? I don't know why, but these with the engine mod, with the drive control mod, when these guys finish working, I guess is the right word. They'll put the parking brake on, and they will also turn themselves off, which is kind of nice. I think it was the same way with the old manual ignition mod. When they stopped working, they would turn the engine off, obviously, and then go from there. Anyways, here's some comments from the previous episode. So Guardian Citadel says the T4 is frustrating for a front loader. It's great if you leave one at the sheep pen. So for example, over down there for the wool pallets, yes, that's really good, and also at the biogas can be helpful there. Although it's disappointing because what happens is you basically get caught into a situation where you can't really use it for a whole lot. Like as you saw earlier on in the series, where I was using the T4 for the big squares, you basically couldn't do anything with it without having a weight, and even with the weight, it was a little dicey. A couple people asking about the feed bale mod and where you can find that. You can find that on Mod Hoster. It's under featured mods. That's where you can get that one. This guy stopped too. It's under featured mods if you want to get that one. It's a pretty good little mod. It makes, I don't know, for smaller dairy farms it makes sense, but as you get larger it doesn't make that much sense. But I end up using it still just because it is, let's go this way. I continue to use it just because it's easier in terms of the square bales, because with square bales there isn't really a good chopper, because like you have, where is it? This is what you can chop with, and basically it is primarily made for round bales, not square bales. So I suppose I could get a round baler and make round bales just for straw. That's a possibility, but then you have to pick up the round bales, which is not very much fun. There is an auto stacker, mind you. Mr. Species 7, who's also Canadian, by the way, he says one of the funniest things he's seen in FS15 with the acrobatic tractor, which we saw, I guess, this is episode, I forget which episode that's 14 or something, where I picked up the trailer, or hooked up, I think it was the front loader part of it, and made the tractor just flip all over the place. That's what he's referring to. John Joe, he says, keep the loader up a little to avoid flipping the tractor when attaching implements. FS13 did the same thing. Farming Simulator 13 and Farming Simulator 15 obviously does it as well, but it's not nearly as bad. It used to be a lot worse in terms of doing that, but now it's not too bad for flipping vehicles. You could do pretty much anything in the old in FS13, and you could flip the tractor basically. Also, if you notice, we're using up a lot of the solid manure. If I hop over to the what am I looking for here? This guy. You will look at the BGA here. If I bring up the information, you'll notice that total solids in the fermenter is 9.21, and we're producing 299 kilowatts, which is good. I'm still trying to increase that level to 10%, and what's been happening is as I've been putting more and more solid manure in there, what's happened is our energy has increased. So I guess it's good to have more solids in the fermenter rather than just the silage there. It's good to have a good mix from what it seems like, which is good. Thank you, Farm Reviews, for that information. He was saying I think 10% is kind of like the sweet spot, so we'll see what happens. I think And I think he was saying if you keep it 50-50 is a good way of working with it. So 50% silage, 50% solid manure, and that is a good blend from what he was saying. So excellent. Let's hop into this guy. I'm pretty sure that combine's full again. Yes. It's funny, you could basically, like, you know, look away for a second and this guy's going to be full right now. Mainly because we're harvesting barley, and of course barley's a high-yielding crop, so if you don't keep an eye on your combine, you'll definitely run into a situation like this where the combine's just going to sit there. What I will do is get this guy to turn around. Like, whoa, what happened there? Get this guy to turn around here. If we can line him up properly. There we go. That should be good. Alright, so let's do this, and then we'll get this. Let's not let me jump over there. We'll get this guy rolling again. So, and what you can do is you can just follow along with this guy. And I have him following just a straight line with the GPS, which makes it so I can follow very easily. And of course, setting your cruise control to 10 kilometers an hour, or 10, I guess it would be 5 miles an hour, something like that. Another way of going about it. But he's probably going to fill up my trailer really quickly, so we'll see what happens here. Alright, Anders, he says, but Ian, why do you have the lifting arm on the front loader so low when attaching the spikes to or the bucket? And he says, when you do TMR, add straw to fill it out. He's right, I probably should add some straw to fill out the TMR because I'm basically wasting, quote-unquote, silage by doing what I'm doing. So by adding a little bit of straw, it'll definitely help to fill it out a little bit. So that last 10% or so, if I fill that out with straw, that'll bring our total up to 100% still. But it will also use up a little of that silage. Right now, silage it's not a huge problem, so that's probably one of the reasons why I'm not too worried about it. But you can definitely get around that relatively easily, at least. Alright, looks like he's empty anyway, so he's just unloading what he has left in here. Which is going to be perfect because he's probably going to get us up to about 96, 97%, something like that. And then we'll be able to just unload straight into the truck there, which is nice. Sweet. Yeah, there's another mod that Upside Down, the same guy who made the GPS mod, who made the GPS mod, and a couple of the other mods I really like. That growth mod that I was referring to before about the one that only lets the crops grow at a specific time in the day. It sounds interesting because this is what happens sometimes is you'll plant part of the field and it'll start growing before it's done. So if you plant right now, for example, some of it will be ready and some of it won't be. Like this guy's still finishing off of this half of the field, but part of it has already grown, so I believe what will happen is with the other mod, it will only grow between the hour midnight and 4 a.m. So it's kind of like the what would be similar to? It'd be similar to the soil mod, I guess, where the soil mod goes through a growth cycle and that starts at midnight every night. Where this, they can just grow at any time. So that's one of the advantages of using the growth control. And it might actually, now that I'm thinking about it more, I think it might. Whoops. It might be a good idea. Didn't mean to do that. Oh, this thing's done. Perfect. It might be a good idea to do that because that will, of course, make it a bit more even across the whole field as opposed to having parts that grow early and parts that haven't grown yet. So it'll be a nice little addition, I think. Alright, that combine's heading back. He's probably going to be full in a second again. I don't know if there's any other fields. Actually, you know what I can do? I can get him start. I can get this guy started on the other field that's over there, field 16, 17. I believe this one's already been fertilized. Look at this. This is the problem you run into where some parts are fully ready to go and other parts are not. I think that's one of the reasons why I turned off withering as well. With the soil mod, you didn't really have that problem because it was either grown or not, and it all grew at the same time. Here we go. Get this guy working here. Perfect. All right. Let's go grab that combine. I don't think he's going to be full yet, but he probably will be soon as he turns around. It's funny. This is what Courseplay usually does, of course. It does a little, I don't know, you can call it chasing the combines. Yeah, he's at 80% already, so. And I imagine if I don't catch up to him now, he's going to stop. Yes, just about. Perfect. So the inching mod, for those people who don't know, so see how my cruise control is at 10 kilometers an hour now, right now? So what the inching mod does is it basically halves your cruise control. So if I set it 10 now, and if I hit the cruise control, it'll take it down to 4, which is kind of nice. So it halves your cruise control, which is good for taking turns and whatnot. So if you have your cruise control set to 10 kilometers an hour right now, so it's also good for the GPS mod. Which someone mentioned a while. I think it was Farmer Beavis mentioned to me when we were on TeamSpeak. He said the inching mod's good for turning around when you're using the GPS mod. You can slow it right down, which is nice. Perfect. Alright, so I think what we'll do is we'll finish this pass and we'll go from there. Actually, one of the interesting updates to the GPS mod is apparently what was happening is these lines right here were creating a bit of lag for some people. Or I'm not sure if it was lag or frame rate lag or something along those lines. So the author, actually, Upside Down, the guy who created the mod, he actually readjusted it so it wouldn't cause lag. I don't know why it was, but apparently it was in some way, shape, or form. So I don't know. It seems fine now. I actually did notice it a little bit when I was messing around with it before. So. Matt says, you're going to run out of silage pretty soon. If I were you, I would tackle that first thing next episode. He's probably right. At the moment, I don't really have silage problems, but at that point I probably did, or probably was going to have silage problems very easily. Because I don't think I had much silage at all. And a lot of people pointed out the fact that you can make silage from fermenting grass. I don't know why I keep forgetting that, but I'm so used to using corn to make silage. I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. Alright, folks, that'll be it for today. My name's Iain Robson. This has been Farming Simulator 2015, coming at you from Westbridge Hills. Catch you guys later.